Hello from the Kettleland Live Doppler Storm Center. I'm meteorologist Scott Munt. Here we are Sunday morning, a little before 8:30 on December 29th. Let's jump into things. First with Futurecast. As we do go through today, mild, much like what we had yesterday. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s, mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Things do change tonight and going into all of tomorrow. Let's go ahead and show you Futurecast. Starting tonight, western South Dakota will have a wintry mix. You can see that on Futurecast. And this is rain in central and north central South Dakota, extending into east central South Dakota. And we may have pockets of freezing drizzle or freezing rain with this during the overnight. And I'll have another slide that comes up showing where we may have some of the ice accumulation. But yeah, we will have areas of rain, maybe even freezing rain, as temperatures do cool to the lower 30s for some areas. Let's go ahead and fast forward to 7 o'clock on your Monday morning, getting ready for work. Wintry mix, central, north, central South Dakota. I think a lot of this may end up being snow across western and northwestern Kettleland. This can still be some light rain showers. Watch those temperatures tonight, south central to southeastern South Dakota. As we go into the late morning hours, we'll stop it at 10 o'clock. Notice the wintry mix moves in the central Kettleland. That will continue to move to the east and southeast. Again, watch those temperatures. Numbers near 30 for eastern South Dakota. May see some freezing drizzle or freezing rain near Aberdeen toward Watertown. As we continue to about the noon hour, notice how quickly that changes over the snow, central to northeastern South Dakota. And then that trend will continue as it moves to the east and to the southeast. This is a look at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's all snow, western, central, and northern South Dakota. Winds will eventually become north in eastern and southeastern Kettleland. I think as that happens in the afternoon, then we'll start to see that switch over, that north wind help bring in the colder temperatures. And by the evening, a lot of this is snow. As we go, let's go ahead and show you this one for the ice accumulation. I did mention I'll show you this. We'll look at 3 different computer models that are predicting ice. Okay, this first one is the European model. Shows up near Redfield, and a little of it also showing to the south and southwest of Watertown. This next model is the in-house model that we run. It's trying to show it near Aberdeen and to northeastern Kettleland. Wouldn't be surprised if it does extend over into north central South Dakota. Now, when I saw this earlier this morning, when I go to the Canadian here, notice how it just gives it widespread ice accumulation. We do have that wintry mix in the forecast. Unfortunately, yes, it can contain freezing drizzle or freezing ice. Anywhere into these locations, this is the Canadian, comes in usually colder than the other models. It's Canada after all. But pay attention to this too. Pay attention to the changing weather tonight into tomorrow morning. North, central, and the southeastern Kettleland. Notice how it brings it in around Sioux Falls. So as we take a look at all 3 of these models together, okay, just overlaid all of them. Where's the bullseye? It's right here, near Redfield and Miller, Fulton area. That could be an area that does get hit with the freezing rain and freezing drizzle late tonight into tomorrow morning. So again, pay attention to the changing weather conditions tonight and tomorrow. As far as the snow goes, we have winter storm warnings for the northern Black Hills, surrounded by winter weather advisories. 6 to 12 inches of snowfall for the northern Black Hills. That's surrounded by the advisory. A good average may be in 3 to 8. And let's talk about other areas with our snow forecast. This is an ever-changing forecast. And this system's coming in from the west. It dives a little bit to the south. We'll see how much moisture gets wrapped up into it when we have that switch over from rain to snow. So there's a lot of things going into the forecast. I think a good average, again, average may be 1 to 3 inches. Some spots more, some spots less. And we'll take that anywhere from western, northwestern South Dakota, central, south central Kettleland into the southeast. Notice I have northeastern South Dakota traced to 1 inch, Redfield, Watertown areas to the north, coming in less than 1 inch, Aberdeen, traced to 1 inch in Mobridge. But that's also the area where we can see that freezing rain or freezing drizzle before that switch over to snow. Right now I have Mitchell at 1 to 3, maybe a little less than that in Sioux Falls, a trace to 2. Now there could be a couple of isolated areas that do show up coming in at more than 3. You can see here on this particular model, I'll get into the graphic, that we do have some areas that are trying to come in at maybe around 1/4 of an inch. Well, I thought I could. But you do see these darker blues here. Just highlight them with the cursor near Madison, between Chamberlain and Huron, even south central South Dakota. We could have a couple of areas here hit that higher end of 1 to 3. So yeah, 2 to 3 in winter. Some spots maybe a little more south central South Dakota, as we do have those darker shades of blue trying to come in. So trying to pinpoint those things rather hard to do. But don't be surprised if you do get a couple of areas with more than 3 inches of snowfall. Not worried about the wind for today, but as we do have the wintry mix for tomorrow, the winds do pick up. I mentioned all snow during the morning in western South Dakota, and you see that wind gust Rapid City at 34 miles per hour. So we could have areas of blowing snow across the west. I mentioned last week, you get a little concerned when you get more of an easterly wind. That helps feed the system with drier air. And when we're talking winter weather, unfortunately, that can be a good mechanism to bring in some of that freezing rain and freezing drizzle. So we have that early in the day trying to set up here on areas to the north where that freezing rain was trying to show up on those models with that ice accumulation showing up on those models. And then I mentioned as winds do become north, we'll eventually see all that switch over the snow in southeastern South Dakota. That may happen later in the day, maybe just in time for the commute home. We could start to see that switch over in southeastern Kettleland. Check out this computer model. Now this is our temperature trend. It takes an account, it shows you the above average air compared to the below average air. So I think as we go through the week, temperatures will fall. We'll start to cool as we go through the week. Watch what happens as we get into next weekend. Cold air continues to pour in. I went ahead and labeled this as real winter expected next week. That can be anywhere from, I believe Sunday's the 5th. Let me check the calendar. Yeah, the 5th of January is Sunday, and just take that through the whole week. Temperatures will remain probably below average, well below average if this holds true. And, other models are holding on to this idea. It's just a matter of how much cold air comes on in. In fact, something else that I showed you before on some of these videos, this is just a different view of that. We'll put this into motion for you. Here comes that cold air from Canada. Notice how it just starts to pour in from the north and the northwest. Again, we're looking at the temperature difference here, above average air compared to below average air. But let's go up in the higher layers of the atmosphere, because I thought that this is rather cool as we, no pun intended, as we just change the view here. Now again, we're looking at the 500 millibar level with our temperatures. So there's the cold air to the north, into northern Canada as we go into January. But notice that piece breaks off from that. Okay, comes across the northern plains here. Later in the week, let's look at Friday. That's when we do expect to see much colder air come in. And then that just breaks loose, comes through the upper plains, eventually through the Great Lakes and into New England. And then we'll watch that other one. Look at that. Much colder air as we do get into that second week of the month. So be prepared for that. And we'll keep an eye on it too. Otherwise, here's the outline. Wintry mix for tomorrow. It starts tonight in the western South Dakota, turning colder each day, I think, as we do go through the new work week. Much colder for the weekend, and that will continue the following week, January 5th through the 11th. That's your update here from the Storm Center. I'm meteorologist Scott Muntz. Have a great day.